Welcome to Legal Matters. My name's Tim Shaw and I'm the Thailand correspondent for the 7 Network Australia. You're watching Phuket News TV. I've always been interested about the legal systems all over the world in different countries. And here in Thailand, the legal systems can be quite complex. Joining us in the studio, Gerald Kippen from dktaxandlaw.com to answer some questions about arbitration. Gerald, welcome.
Thank you, Tim. Happy to be here.
What is arbitration?
Tim, arbitration is an alternative means of dispute resolution. By alternative, I mean it's a means of resolving a dispute between parties without going to court.
Why choose arbitration over court to settle a dispute?
There's several advantages to arbitration, Tim. Particularly for international parties. First of all, you can choose your judge. Therefore, you can find somebody who may be a specialist in the area that involves your dispute, the topic of your dispute. You can choose the rules under which the dispute will be resolved. You can choose the language under which the documents that will be submitted and the proceedings will, for instance, the hearing will proceed. Therefore, it could be, for instance, in English, unlike in a Thai court, for example. Also, very important, an arbitration agreement is enforceable worldwide in any one of the over 150 countries that have signed the relevant treaty, which includes Thailand.
You have offices in Bangkok as well as Phuket. How do I ensure that my dispute is resolved through arbitration and not a normal court process?
Well, because it is something that is not going to court, it's based on an agreement between the parties. So that's fundamental to it. And there needs to be a law that supports it. Thailand does have that law. The agreement between the parties that they enter needs to be compliant with the local law, so obviously it would be a good idea to make sure that, get the relevant advice so that you can be sure that your agreement does comply and that you are able to proceed with arbitration.
I'd assume that going through arbitration where the parties are bound by that decision can actually save a lot of time and money for the clients.
Absolutely, that's one of the advantages. You can choose beforehand, and that's actually another very important point about arbitration. Because it is contractually based, it's important to set up your agreement beforehand. And when you set up that agreement, you can think about such things as costs and timing. You can require for instance, the award, the final decision, to be rendered within a certain amount of time. You can also decide maybe not to have hearings, that the dispute will be submitted simply on documents. All of this could save a lot of money, basically.
My guest is Gerald Kippen from dktaxandlaw.com. The topic is arbitration. Gerald, who should use arbitration and when?
Basically, anybody, but in particular, parties that if you want to avoid the issues with going to, that can be involved in going to Thai court and take advantages of the aspects of arbitration that arbitration offers, which, for instance, it allows you to. Am I doing the same question again?
No, that's good.
Okay. It allows you to choose the process. You're allowed to choose who the arbitrator is, how many arbitrators you want to have. You can choose, and in doing that, then you can possibly find somebody who is a specialist in the area that involves your dispute. You can also choose the language. That's very important, something that we see all the time when an issue with our clients, if they're not Thai speaking, even in providing the documentation, there's cost, there's excessive costs there, because generally they will have had an agreement, and the documents will often be in an international language like English, and they will have to translate all of this in order to go to the Thai court. That means extra costs. Also, there's a comfort level. If they're not Thai speaking, it's very difficult for them to follow. Of course, they're going to trust us to advise them, but they're not going to be able to follow the proceedings firsthand.
Gerald, thank you so much for your time. If you'd like to contact Gerald directly, dktaxandlaw.com or visit thephuket.news.com. This has been Legal Matters with Tim Shaw here on Phuket News TV.